Oh guys, today is gonna be a great day. We are reviewing something that is so sick. Personally, couldn't be any more excited, not only for myself, but also for you guys, because this vehicle, as you've already seen, is a Hummer H1 that is Duramax swap. So if you guys are just as excited as I am about this review, definitely go ahead and smash that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and let's get today started. And for those of you that are new to the channel, we're giving away this sweet 2018 Grom. It's got a few mods, it's gonna get some more. Every $5 spent with Enthusiast is one automatic entry. That is the first link in the description below. Just look at this thing. Oh my God, what an absolute brute. I want to give a huge shout out at the beginning of this video to Dieselworks out of Mount Joy, Pennsylvania. And they had reached out to me not too long ago saying, Jack, I think we have something that you would be especially interested in, not only for your own personal satisfaction, but also because really nothing like this exists. Looking at right here is a 2001 Hummer H1 with an Lbz swap Duramax powertrain. Can we even think of collectively anything sicker than that? Honestly, I don't think so. So let's just do a quick little history review. The H1 was made from 1992 until 2006, when unfortunately the economy started to take a downturn and General Motors decided that they were going to discontinue this absolute legacy. Now the two most popular variants were not only the hard top but also the soft top, where basically the roof of the vehicle is an embroidery type of substance, kind of similar to that of a Jeep, but we don't want to compare anything else today to a Jeep Wrangler because we're looking at the megalodon of Jeeps. This is the iconic platform that you could buy as a recreational purpose vehicle, but God forbid the world was going to come to an end, you would be covered. Now the H1 platform specifically came in multiple different powertrain options as well, ranging from a 5.7 liter Vortec gas powertrain to a 6.2 or a 6.5 liter Detroit powertrain, and then the last year, the 2006, if I'm not mistaken, was the only year that this specific vehicle came from the factory OEM with an RPO code from General Motors with an LLY Duramax. The LLY was produced from 04.5 to 05. That's what I have. That's what I have, aka my Minimax, my project truck. But there were specific instances where the LLY was offered in select RPO codes in 2006 vehicles. So in total, there are only 11,818 of these specific vehicles that exist on this planet. And unfortunately, rest in peace, some of them probably aren't in as good a shape as this one here behind me. When they had introduced the Hummer in 2002, they only made 300. In 2005, they made 0, and in 2006, they made roughly 700. And technically, as a fun fact, the 2005s were made in 2006 after the fact, but they were categorized as the Alpha. Now, the Alpha was basically a completely re-engineered package for 1 year, which basically beefed up every single aspect of the truck, from the chassis to the suspension to the brakes to the interior deadening to the safety mechanisms, and of course then the Duramax powertrain, which was an incredible step in the right direction versus that of one of those old laggy and terribly slow Detroit diesels. Now you guys have a general flavor as to what it was, where it is, and what these are now today. So before we get to the point as to why we are here at Dieselworks and the things that were done to this truck to take an already stout and already unbelievably aggressive chassis and platform to make it better, let's talk about how it got to the exterior state that you see in, minus the fact that yes, it is an Lbz swap powertrain. So Predator is a company that adopts Hummers in their somewhat sad and stock form and basically spices them up just a little bit and then resells them for what some could argue pretty steep prices. But But again, it's something unique, it's a niche, and it's not all that much of a commodity. They're hard to find, especially in this way, shape, and form. They coated the entire exterior of the truck in what is a somewhat kind of rugged, textured material, potentially a bedliner substance. They outfit it with modern day amenities such as LED taillights, rear bumpers, remote controlled winches, a backup camera. And there are a slew of interior modifications that have been done as well to bring this thing just a little bit more up to speed, considering we're going on almost a 20-year-old vehicle. Came with a 4-inch exhaust, which you can see is sitting right here and just looks so mean. Now, I'm not going to disclose exactly what the current owner purchased this for, but what I can tell you is that it was north of 6 figures. So in order to get into the hood, it's a kind of a 4-step process. You got to pull one pin, you got to open one latch, you got to pull another pin, you got to pull this front Predator bumper guard down, and it is pretty heavy. And then we can go ahead and open up the hood to expose the absolute beauty of Lbz swapped in here, and it looks like it was done from the factory. That is just absolutely amazing. I mean, look at how tight the fit and finish is here. I mean, guys, we're talking a few centimeters, maybe even millimeters between the turbo elbow and the top of the hood. Now, unfortunately, I haven't had the ability to meet the current owner of this truck, but I gotta say already that this dude is absolutely awesome, and he is more than a-okay in my book for going out and sourcing something as absolutely gnarly as this. And because of the fact that he got something that already claimed to be 550 horsepower, already claiming to make 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, and said, hey, Sean, who's the owner of Dieselworks, by the way, all their information is in the description below. He said, Sean, you know what, man, it's fun, but I know that there's more, and that's my kind of guy. So initially, the owner actually approached Sean and said, hey, I want this thing to make 1,000 horsepower no matter what. And, well, you guys know that a stock Duramax, especially an Lbz, or any Duramax in general, cannot withstand that kind of power demand. So Sean had a discussion with the owner and basically said, look, let me do a few things to this to get you to around 750 wheel horsepower. Take it out and drive it and see what you think, because 500 to the crank and 750 wheel have a tremendous delta and an unbelievably improved driving experience. It's pretty much night and day. So what they were able to do here is install a dual fueler setup that is a stock CP3 and a stock CP3 in the Valley, but having two CP3s can kind of equate to that of a 10mm without all of the aggravation. In the Valley is not a stock turbocharger. We're talking a Danville 72mm VGT turbo, which is basically like the one that I have on my LML, except in a 64mm variant. Tucked up behind that absolutely massive frame rail are PPE manifolds on either side, PPE up pipes, and to support the added fuel, there are 100% over injectors in each cylinder. Now, another unique aspect to this build is the fact that the coolant elbow is actually off of an Lbz Duramax van because it's shorter, so it fits into this very tight compartment just a little bit easier. So we've got the dual fuelers, the 100% overs. You might be asking yourself, okay, well, how are you getting all that fuel there? On Hummers, there are actually two tanks. You can see that there are two fuel caps. That's because there is a primary tank and an auxiliary tank, or a main tank and an auxiliary tank. So if you go out to try and install a lift pump on a vehicle with two tanks, they say that you pretty much have to dedicate the lift pump to one tank. Well, the guys over here at Dieselworks said, nope, that doesn't have to happen today, especially for this awesome build. We have a solution for that. So step A was to find a spot to mount the FAS. There it is. Super discreet and very accessible to change your filters every few thousand miles. You can't beat that. There's actually a mechanical valve that diverts the feed and the return lines from tank to tank. That mechanical valve is actually connected to the tank selection switch. So on aux, the truck is consuming and returning fuel out of the single tank, whereas on main, it then switches, once the truck is on, of course, to the primary tank for the feed line and the return. It's a pretty nice little setup. Now, this truck is tuned with Danville tunes, a very reputable name in the industry, and it has, of course, a DSP-5 switch, which is located right here. That way you can kind of go from mild to wild in a quick little flip of a switch. So there's a quick look at what it looks like in its exposed form. And then as a part, they actually had to take an LML intercooler, cut it up just a little bit to get it to fit in this obvious tight and confined area, and then basically laid the intercooler and the radiator on a 45-degree angle, and then created a functional hood scoop to make sure you can service the requirements of that of the cooling system. Pretty cool. I think Doug DeMuro would have a blast with this thing. And as he would say it, a quirk and feature on the Hummers is that the brake rotors are actually not located in the wheels. The brakes are actually located up under the steering rack, which is insane. I've never seen anything like that before, and I figured it would be a cool little quirk and feature to share. There you can see the caliper. And then last but not least, you reap all the benefits of independent suspension on every corner of the vehicle. So this thing probably rides very, very well. Now, on the ground, we've got some 38-inch by 13.5 tires mounted on a bead-locked 18-inch wheel. If you're looking for performance, this is what you get. Now, Hummers, for as big as they are, don't really have the best reputation for when it comes to space on the interior. You would think that for as large as these trucks truly are, there would be a little bit more room, but honestly, they're not. Very purpose-built, and that was to move people from point A to point B safely. There is a nice rug back here, which probably does pretty good with sound deadening, and honestly, it feels like my voice is being relatively contained from an interior perspective. On the top, we have a nice suede headliner, which is pretty cool, and padded to give it a nice little look on the inside. And then we have this grate here, which kind of makes me feel like I'm in prison. Now, allow me to introduce you to what the back of a Hummer H1 looks like. This one's a little bit more spiced up. So part of that Predator package is the fact that you get DVD players. Jumping up in here with very limited room. Now, I'm a pretty skinny guy. I'm about 5'11", weighing about 175 pounds, and I feel, when I close this door, I don't have much room to move. I can't move my elbow out at all. It's already pretty much at my side. Now it is, now it's not. And on this side, I have a nice little armrest, which is kind of convenient, but I still don't have a lot of room to get comfortable. And I'm pretty much sitting straight up and down. Very military-esque. Now, the center seat, I don't know. I think this is designed for people that are under 4 foot tall. For the experience, we gotta try. Just a little bit tight, but you know, I mean, if I had to do it, I would do it. I feel like if this was the convertible version though, my head could stick up above and I could get a really nice breeze to my face. But this is also a pretty cool viewpoint to look over just how the instrument cluster is in comparison to that of the passenger or the driver. Literally, this entire center area is pretty much devoted to the motor because the motor sits so far back under the firewall, so that is all fire retardant. And here, oh, we have some heated seats. That's a nice little luxury that I don't think came stock. We do have some Predator seats. They might be leather wrap seats, which is kind of a cool little touch. So jumping on into a Hummer and sitting in a driver's seat is unlike anything that I've ever experienced. We've got a Momo notch steering wheel on the top and bottom, which really gives me that fighter pilot feel. I mean, I feel like I'm driving something right now that is quite literally invincible. And this is part of the Predator package. You've got your boost gauge and your EGT gauge here, which is kind of cool. Definitely want to make sure you're always monitoring those, especially when you're in diesels. You've got a tire pressure system to always make sure that you're in the green. Emergency brake, too high, low, high, neutral, and low. And then you've got your drive selector. When you have a 72mm Danville turbo, you want to hear nothing other than this. So I think we're all at that point where we all wanted to be. Let's go for a ride. Mini-Mac's got a nice little single cab friend over there. Oh my God, guys, this is insane. Feeling of being in this thing is just wild. And it's actually pretty nimble. Holy crap. Let me put the window up here. Listen to that sound. Listen to that sound. I am quite legitimately occupying the entire lane right now. Guys, I just want you to like take into consideration how big this truck is and how minimal the visibility is. I'm driving this massive truck with this tiny little steering wheel. This is awesome. Driving Driving it is almost exactly what I envisioned. It's massive, it's crude, it's rude, and if you get in its way, then I feel bad for not only you, but me as well, because I don't want to be held liable. If I wasn't surrounded by the beauty of Pennsylvania, I'd feel like I was on my way to a combat field stationed with some troops to make sure that we were completing the mission at hand. That's the kind of confidence that driving this thing gives you almost immediately. And now it does have some jingles and some jangles here and there, but surprisingly, it rides really, really well. Oh, we are just making this guy feel inferior. Honestly, after this experience today with all of you, I think that I'm adding one of these to my bucket list. Because why wouldn't you want an 8,500 pound, 750 horsepower monster that you can just take out for, you know, nice Sunday morning cruises, or maybe to get coffee on Saturday morning? Just stay casual. We didn't even get in the boost! I really like this 72mm turbo. It is just driver friendly. And when the boost hits, it hits hard. On another one. Feel bad for him. 1-lane bridge. Yep, it's mine right now. We're gonna roll into it here. Oh my God, this thing is insane. Such a cool build. And my, does it just bring out the smiles. Oh my God, what just happened? Wow. Sean, you guys worked your magic, man. You guys definitely did something to this beast that woke it up, and it is vicious. I don't even want to give this thing back. I made a promise. Thank you again to Dieselworks for supplying the amazing opportunity, all the fun, and the experience. It was absolutely amazing. I'm gonna put all their information down in the description below. Again, they are out in the Lancaster County area. If you want to check them out, you can go right ahead and do so. I'm gonna cut this video out for the night. My Like League, I love you guys. Do what you do best. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.